Hey there guys, and welcome to the Sunday Shred. In this 100 subscriber special, I'll be doing a bike check of my Canyon Strive 6.0 race 2016. Right, let's get straight into it with the frame. Obviously this is the 6.0 race. For those of you that don't know much about Canyon, that's the alloy frame. This is kind of one of their, I guess it's one of the low end models. It's an alloy frame. It weighs quite a bit really in the big scheme of things. I'm at that point in my mountain biking sort of life where I'm on the verge really of buying a carbon fibre mountain bike, but I'm in that funny place where I've got the money to go and buy one, but you either need to have lots and lots and lots of money to be able to just go and buy one regardless of what skill level you're at, or you need to be really good at mountain biking with just enough money to go out and justify buying a £5 mountain bike. So I'm still running the alloy frame. It's perfect for me, nice and sturdy. I'm still running the fork that came stock with the bike, which is the RockShox Pike RC. I've got it came with 2 volume spacers, both of which I put in. I put the 2 volume spacers in. I think pretty much everyone runs volume spacers now to give you a more kind of linear feel with the suspension. But I specifically did it after seeing some reviews and riding the really steep stuff around here, just to make it a bit more solid mid-stroke, just to sit the front end up a little bit on the really steep terrain here. I really like the fork. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not brilliant at suspension, setting up suspension, but it feels fine to me. Yeah, I've had no problems with it at all. In the front triangle here, we've got the RockShox Monarch Plus R rear suspension. Yeah, that's a really good. Again, I've not done anything with this. I know that there's adjustments that you can make to this. I've played with the air pressure and the rebound just to make it pop up less. It was really. I'm not too keen on poppy bikes really, because having it too firm at the back, because on the steep downhill stuff it tends to make me feel like I'm going to go over the bars. But I run quite high pressures, being quite a big lad. And obviously I've not done anything to the internals like that. There's like a version of volume spacers that you can put in the back of suspension and the shocks, I think, but I've not touched that. What it does have is the shapeshifter, which I find to be a little bit pointless if I'm honest. The bike is like an enduro spec mountain bike, and the head angle on this is about 65 degrees. It's supposed to be 66, but most of them have come out of the factory at about 65. They have a tolerance of 1.5 degrees, so that's actually quite steep for an enduro spec mountain bike. So to have an adjustment on it to make it even steeper again, and to reduce this to 130 mil of travel, I can't really see the point in it. I think whenever you try and make one thing, especially sort of mountain bikes or anything like that, when you try and make one product fill 2 disciplines, or to do 2 different things, there's going to be some compromises. And to be honest with you, if I was going to attempt something like the shapeshifter, I would prefer to see it with the enduro, the head angle, the 65-66 degrees, as the kind of more steep angle, and then the dropped back slacker angle to be more of a downhill type geometry. I don't really like it the way it is. I don't use it. I put it in the slack position when I first got the bike, and it's been there ever since. I don't use it at all. So I just assumed it wasn't there. I'm definitely going to have a go with the ShockWiz at some point, try and set the bike up with ShockWiz, because like I said, I don't know a great deal about suspension. I kind of max suspension out really, because I weigh so much. I weigh 16.5 stone I think at the minute, so everything's set up to the pretty, the top end of pressures, and that gives me probably middle of the range pressures for lighter riders. So I will get the ShockWiz and have a go at setting it up properly and see what it's like, but I don't really notice anything. Like I say, I've dropped the rebound on the back just so as I don't fly over the handlebars, and it feels pretty nice to me. I've got no complaints at all with the suspension setup. So we'll move on to wheels and tyres from there. I've got still the stock wheels that came with the bike. They're pretty good, I reckon. DT Swiss 1700s. They're nice sturdy wheels. I don't think they're the lightest weight things that you can get on the market, but still running nice and true. I've given these an absolute hammering really, and they've been totally fine. I've not had to have them trued or anything like that yet. I really like the wheels. Yeah, really, I'm totally I like for there to be a bit of middle ground, but my preference is nice sturdy stuff over really lightweight expensive stuff, and I'm really happy with the wheels on this. My tyres up front, I'm running what came with the bike as well, the Maxxis High Roller 2. It's the 3C High Roller, it says in the spec. I guess that means it's the tackier version of the tyre. I haven't actually looked that up, but I really like high rollers. I always have. That's what I'm running up front, and I'll probably stick with that. On the back, it was originally running the Maxxis Minion semi-slick tyre, and when I converted this to tubeless, I've been using it for a couple of months, and the Maxxis Minion sidewall wouldn't hold the sealant anymore, so I decided that I would change. And I'd always had my eye, I've been running semi-slicks for a little while now, and I like these Schwalbe Rock Razor tyre. I thought I'd give that a go. I really like the Schwalbe tyres, so I've got that on the back. If I'm honest, now that I'm riding in the Sierra Nevada, those of you that watch the channel regularly, you'll see that the terrain here is super loose, you know, really chunky stuff. There's very little compacted single track here. Most of it is loose and steep, and rolling resistance is starting to play second fiddle really to the fact that I just need as much grip as I can possibly get. So I'm going to start doing a bit of research and look at replacing the back tyre and maybe the front to something different. I don't know. I do like the high rollers. I might just stick a high roller on the back, or I might go with with something else. These Maxxis Minions are pretty aggressive tyres, so yeah, we'll see where we go with that. And then from the wheels we'll go to the drivetrain. This here is still standard apart from the front chainring, which I've changed around. So this is a SRAM GX chain set. It's a 1x11. It came with a 34 tooth on the front and then obviously 11 speed at the back. I've changed the front to 30 tooth, which doesn't give me a brilliant high gear, to be honest. I kind of run out of beans when I'm going down really steep fast stuff, but I need the low gear desperately because the terrain here can be so steep that really one of my upgrades that I really want to do, which I'll come to in a bit, is a 1x12, the SRAM Eagle setup, which would allow me to have, you know, a better high gear, which is what I'm really lacking at the minute. But the 30 tooth, it does get me up the hills a lot better, so I'm quite happy with that. Drive chain is nice and solid. You know, the chain set is nice and solid. I've got no complaints really. You can see that they're taking a hammer in. I've not managed to bend them yet, and I have bent a few cranks because I'm a little bit clumsy. Yeah, I really like it. I've put these cool DMR Volt, Lacon Volt pedals on. They're special edition. They're really cool pedals. I love them. And with these 510 shoes, yeah, sometimes it's almost like being clipped in. If I forget to lift my foot up, I've just never had such a grippy set of pedal, you know, like a pedal shoe combination. So totally happy with that. I still run I know a lot of people take the chain stays off, but I don't see the point. There's no weight to it, and it's, yeah, even though a narrow wide chain ring should never throw a chain, it's some real chunky stuff around here, so I don't really want to take any chances with that. So that's the drive chain. The big news, obviously, that you've heard me whinging about on the channel non-stop about is the brakes. I cooked my SRAM Guidar brakes and hate them now as a result. I know a lot of people have no problem with them, but I just can't have that. I can't have brakes overheating. On an all-mountain bike, I've had some conversations with a guy in the bike shop here, and he said, oh, well, you're riding different terrain here now and stuff like that. But this is an all-mountain bike. It's built for this place. The brakes overheated on like a 17 degrees Celsius day. That just shouldn't happen. So I've gone with a 4-piston Magura MT5 brakes, and they're friggin' awesome. The back brake still needs setup. It still needs setting up. There's a bit of air in there, and I think there's a little bit of air in the front, but with just one ride, I can totally feel that I've got so much more control with the brakes. Yeah, much nicer modulation, and you know, I could throw myself over the handlebars if I really wanted to, no problem whatsoever, which I couldn't with the SRAM Guidars. I'm running 203mm rotors as standard. It came with a 200 at the front and a 180 at the back, so I can kind of feel the difference at the back there, and all in all, they're just a much more powerful set of brakes. The only change I might make is the levers are a 2-finger lever. I'll probably go to a one-fingered lever at some point, but for now, they're sweet. I really like them. Yeah, recommend Magura brakes for sure. Handlebars, I run the Renthal Fat Bar Carbons now. That's another upgrade to the bike. I run them at the 780mm wide. I would prefer 800s, to be honest, but I'm quite happy with them as they are, really. Yeah, really like those bars. Obviously this comes standard with the RockShox reverb, and that's the second of the 2 cock-ups I think they made with this bike. I think why send out a large enduro mountain bike with a 125mm dropper when there's 150s on the market for the same price, I think. And then the shapeshifter, why bother with it? I just don't really understand it. But it doesn't affect the seat post more than the shock, more than the shapeshifter. It doesn't really affect the bike. I still totally love the bike. I just think that was more effort than it's worth. And I think that there was just a bit of a balls up. It should be 150, no doubt. Yeah, I'm running OD Vans, lock-on grips. They're quite cool, but I'm going to, I don't really suffer with arm pump too much, but I also don't really want to. And although there's nothing wrong with them, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it perhaps, I really want to try some extra chunky silicone grips. So I've got some ESI extra chunkies coming to try out soon. As you can see, not really about the bike, but as you can see, I run like a storage bottle and my pump, I strap it to the bike. A lot of people don't like putting stuff on their bike, but I would rather have as much weight as I can on the bike than in my bag. I watched GMBN do a bit of a video once about how carrying extra weight on your body versus carrying extra weight on the bike, and being quite heavy anyway, I'd rather sort of counteract that by putting some stuff that would normally be in the backpack on the bike. So I run an inner tube in there, nothing else, and the pump is obviously there as well, so that just puts a bit of weight on the bike instead of on me. I've also not done like a complete frame protection sort of clear stuff that you can get. The bike came with this, which is really good for big rock impacts underneath there, and I've gone with an all mountain style kind of decal kit, whatever you call it, like a frame protection kit. Just a bunch of stickers up and down on the vulnerable areas just to keep it relatively nice. But there's no point in getting too finicky about it here. There's such massive stones here and rocks that you just hear them flicking up into your bike all the time, and there's just no point in worrying about it, so I just really don't. So I think that's about it really, guys, on the bike check. Like I say, the only things that I would change about it is I really like Fox suspension, but that's a big investment into it, when really with an investment like that I'll probably buy a new frame for the bike. But the upgrades that I will most likely do will be the chain set. I really want SRAM Eagle, so I probably will buy that for this bike, even though it's like 800 quid or a grand still. I'll probably buy that for this bike. And the RockShox Reverb, a 150 seat post. And then by the time I've upgraded that, I think my next bike, I'll probably go for a frame and fork, and then put my components on the bike after I've bought a new set of wheels and stuff like that. But they're the only upgrades that are really high up on my list. I'm probably going to see about blocking the shapeshifter off and getting the remote off my handlebar, because I don't like shit on the handlebar that I don't use, and I don't see the point in that. And then on that side, I'm going to get the single shifter dropper remote just to get that below as well. I don't like the way it's on top of the, I mean, you could probably mount it upside down, to be fair, but I don't like the way that it's on top of the handle as it comes on the top of the bar as it comes standard, because when you flick the bike over, it just ends out sat on that instead of the grips. So yeah, that's about it for the bike check, guys. If there's anything that I've missed, then let me know, and I'm more than happy to kind of do another one as I change a few more components. If you want me to, I'll do a bit more of an in-depth review on the Magura brakes after I've had them on for a little bit longer. At the minute, I absolutely love them. I absolutely love the bike. It's the best bike I've ever had. It's perfect for around here. It's perfect for the kind of rider that I am. And yeah, I can't recommend it highly enough. When I was buying, it was between this and a YT Industries Capra at the time. But it was just delivery. YT were really shocking on delivery. I bought this bike at the end of season when they were dropping their prices, and I could get hold of this in a week, and I couldn't get hold of a YT for like a month. So that was kind of like the final thing. They were both neck and neck. But that's what made me really go for the Canyon in the end, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the bike check. If there's any other videos like this that you want me to do, then let me know. This was a request from a bunch of guys, and it kind of fit perfectly with the 100 subscriber special. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Top left of your screen now, have a look at my last trail ride. Bottom left of your screen, have a look at my last wheelie session. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. On your bikes.